Welcome back to Watts the Obsession, and let's get right into it. Is the Watts house haunted? Is the home where Chris and Shanann Watts lived the home where they planned to raise their family together and build a wonderful life together? Is that home at 2825 Saratoga Trail in Frederick, Colorado haunted? Is there paranormal activity in that house? Since the time this horrible tragedy occurred in August of 2018, there has been great speculation that there is in fact paranormal activity at the Watts house and that it's haunted, and that perhaps even it was some kind of an evil energy or spirit that compelled Chris Watts to commit the atrocities that he did.
So like somebody was like behind me, just like I just couldn't let go.
Now, I just want to preface this by saying I am not someone who's really into the paranormal, who thinks that every strange sound or sight or flash of a light means that there's a spirit there, that it's haunted, that this is a paranormal event. Although I do believe in good and evil, and I do believe in things that are beyond our comprehension, in my mind, there clearly has to be something much greater than us that we do not fully understand. And I myself, as I'm going to tell you later in this video, have had a significant paranormal experience, what I consider to be a paranormal experience related to the Watts case, and I am definitely not the only one.
So it's not, so you literally, on a day that I've done Chris Watts, I'm spending 8 whatever hours just thinking about it and hearing it and getting the chills and getting these weird vibes. Well, this particular day was really creepy, you guys.
Apparently, there are a number of people who have done deep dives into this, who have had such serious paranormal experiences that they've stopped talking about this case altogether, or they've definitely considered it, just like I have. And apparently, Christina Randall had as well. We'll hear her full story in a little bit. There is a whole lot of content out there about the possibility of paranormal activity at the Watts former house, 2825 Saratoga Trail. And a lot of it, quite frankly, is total bogus. This video is going to be looking at all of the best information out there, evidence out there even, that indicates that there is something going on at the Watts house that cannot be explained. And we might never know what it is, but some of the experiences people have had, some of the results of paranormal investigations by really solid, credible investigators, makes the questions about the Watts house impossible to ignore. Does evil live within those walls? And if something is there and it's not evil, why all of the paranormal activity experienced by so many?
I am literally getting a heat signature right in front of that window, like someone's standing there. Now it's more than ever. I've never seen it so clear before. Look at that. There is a legit... What is up with that?
And even evidence that comes in the form of those EVPs or those disembodied voices that you can hear all throughout one particular body cam video. And that is the body cam worn by Officer Leans when they went through the Watts house. They did the search for the dogs the day after Shanann, who was 15 weeks pregnant, Bella and Celeste were murdered. Now, I want you to know, as we listen to that, I went back to the original digital discovery release of that video that came straight from Weld County and was undoctored, at least by anyone after it left the hands of Weld County, to share with you these disembodied voices that you can hear throughout that video. So it's not like some creator just, messed around with the audio and put those disembodied voices into the body cam footage. No. Everything you're going to be listening to is straight from the original Weld County digital discovery release of that particular body cam. Since I'm talking about that body cam and the EVPs, I'm going to share with you right now the very first EVP that I heard in that body cam footage. And guys, it just freaking blew me away. As soon as I heard it, I got chills all over my entire body. Something just really came over me. And every time I have heard it since, I have a very similar reaction. So listen to this.
Here's a pair of her shorts.
Oh my gosh, did you guys hear that? Let me just isolate the EVP here. This is our home. Wow, guys, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about that. Do you hear it? Do you think it's just random noise? Do you think it is something paranormal? I'm just going to play you one other EVP sound that I found while I was making this video, and I don't think it has been found before. At least it's not included in content about the EVPs, perhaps in this body cam footage as they go through the Watts house. Or I should say, I haven't seen it in any content of the sort that I just described. So if I'm wrong, don't crucify me in the comments. You can just let me know that you have heard it before and where you heard it, and that would be great. And this particular one starts kind of a whole series of a couple minutes of a few EVPs, some sort of heavy activity, if you want to call it that. Take a listen.
It could mean a high intense fight. So it could mean several things because the body chemistry changes.
Sure.
On all of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of these are motion activated.
Did you guys hear that? Chris. Yeah, so clear as day, Chris. Right after that, the in-home alarm, beep beep. Now, I want you to notice what Jane, the dog handler, is talking about right before you hear that EVP.
It could mean a high intense fight. So it could mean several things because the body chemistry changes.
Sure.
On all of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So again, as I was making this video, I noticed that every time you hear an EVP, something is said by someone or something is done immediately preceding it that would kind of invoke the energy of what is being uttered by that disembodied voice. Jane is discussing how the dog is getting a little excited, and that excitement could be caused by the smell of a high intensity fight, because a high intensity fight is going to change your hormonal composition. It's going to make you smell different to a sensitive animal like a dog. And this dog in particular is a search and rescue dog. So Jane's dog is trained to pick up on those smells of extreme distress. So that EVP, after the Vivint alarm system goes off and Officer Line says, they're usually motion detected alarms. That's kind of interesting too. That says, Chris, or that sounds like it says, Chris. That starts off a series of what could be considered, and I tend to believe, are paranormal occurrences. So 2 of them being EVPs, and then something shocking happens that is not an EVP because Officer Lines and Jane, the dog handler, hear it as well. So we're together going to watch that segment of Officer Lines' body cam footage that is just about 2.5 minutes long, that is a series of potential paranormal occurrences. Pay close attention.
A lot of these are motion activated. These are the shoes that she took the scent off of.
Okay. That's you. Well, there's plenty of first ender in here.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What in the world was that?
Wow.
Okay, so a lot in the potentially paranormal realm happened there in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to continue to play this video a little bit so you can see the reaction of Jane the dog handler and the officer to hearing that sound in the closet. So first, Jane is talking about, you know, what the dog indicating or acting a certain way might mean. It might mean distress because the body chemistry changes, and you know, that's what's going on. And then we hear Chris right after the Vivint alarm goes off, and then Officer Lines notes that many of the sensors are motion activated. Then shortly after that, they're going into Shanann's office. They're talking about Shanann's scent, looking in her closet, and we hear, "Mommy." And I tell you guys, I don't know, let me know what you think, but the way you hear, "Mommy," I can completely hear Bella saying it to me. It almost sounds like Bella's voice. Now, maybe I am just hearing that because I know what I know about the case and about Bella, but please let me know what you think. And then Jane and her dog are going into the closet, and we hear that crazy giggle that, by the way, strangely sounds similar to Nicole Kessinger's eerie, disconcerting giggles, as the Discovery says. So let's continue to watch a little bit more of that video after the Jane and the officer hear those creepy ass giggles, and then I'm going to have a lot more to say about that cluster of unexplained sounds or voices.
Go in there and step on that little blue thing and see if that's where that noise came.
Yeah, it sounded like a kid toy.
It might. It sort of sounded like it.
Something. I heard it.
That one. Did you hear it?
I did.
Sounded like a kid giggling or something, didn't it? Or a kid.
It did.
Where did that come from? Because all he did was go straight in there. That was strange. Well, we'll make a note of that.
I heard it. I definitely heard the same thing you did.
Yeah, and then he just sort of turned around and looked.
So again, in that cluster of unexplained sounds, we have the sound Chris. And then in Shanann's office, we hear, "Mommy." Shortly right before, we hear the giggles in the closet that clearly Jane, the dog handler, was freaked out by, don't you think? I mean, she scooted right out of there. She asked Officer Lines, "Why didn't you go in there and step on that blue thing? See if that's what made the noise." You know, she's explaining the dog just walked straight back, and she clearly does not see anything in her mind that could have possibly made that sound, and she is bugged out. I think Officer Lines is a little, you know, weary too, but, you know, she's a cop and she's playing it cool. What do you guys think about that? Now, here is something that I find to be very, very interesting. The place in the house where this cluster of unexplained sounds occurred. Before we hear the unexplained sound that sounds like Chris, Jane is out in the hallway outside of Shanann's office, and in that same hallway right next door is the downstairs bathroom. The office and the bathroom are kind of in their own little hallway here, and then on either side of that office bathroom hallway is the entrance to the garage, and then right around the other corner is the entrance to the stairway down into the basement. And the office and the bathroom are kind of in their own little hallway here, and then on either side of that office bathroom hallway is the entrance to the garage, and then right around the other corner is the entrance to the stairway down into the basement. Now, you know, if you have watched a lot of my content, and particularly my video about what happened in the basement, you have a good idea of what I think happened in the basement, and it is significant and gruesome and horrible. And also, we know that the garage is a place where there was a lot of horrible, tragic activity that night as Chris Watts brought his family members out to his truck through the garage and then drove them to Survey 319. Oh my gosh. So the basement and the garage in the Watts house are two hallowed location where unthinkable acts occurred. Okay, so let's go on to listen to some more of the EVPs that can be heard during that body cam footage when they are doing the search through the house with the dogs.
So there's your attic access right there.
And oh my gosh, guys, I think in addition to the one that we just listened to, the first one, This Is Our Home, to me, this is the most chilling. You can very clearly hear a voice saying, I'm with Cece. Listen again.
So there's your attic access right there.
Now, shortly after Officer Lyons and Jane with her dog enter the house, you can very clearly hear something that sounds like a voice saying, shouting, no. And then what is also interesting about it is what Jane, the dog handler, says right after. Take a listen. Jane says, that's interesting. That's interesting. I'm taking note. That's interesting. But we don't know what she's talking about. And it happens right after we hear the voice shouting, no. And finally, we have what I think are the most significant EVPs. We have Officer Lyons and another dog handler walking out into the garage, and I'm not going to put any words on the screen. Let me see if you hear the EVP, and I want to know, what do you think is said, if anything? What I think I hear is, let's look there. I've noticed a bunch of people have pointed this out, that they hear something, but they weren't sure what was heard. So I slowed down the audio and worked in my audio editor. And what I hear is, let's look there. So guys, I'll be honest, prior to watching this video and hearing these sounds that sound like voices saying certain things related to this family, I knew about EVPs, and I had watched some things before where there were supposed EVPs saying actual words, and usually it doesn't sound like anything to me. There have been some occasions where I thought, oh, there is something to it. But after watching this video and hearing what I hear in this video, I am a believer in EVPs. What is it that could be causing those sounds that sounds like words related to the family? We're going to watch a video clip from the paranormal investigator named Franco. That is the name of his channel, and I'll put it in the description box. He had been to the Watts house before, and he's returning a second time, and he's using thermal imaging. Take a look.
Now, let's use a thermal imaging camera and seeing what we can see. This should actually be pretty interesting. Hold on, let me put the tam cam away for a second. That's the house through the thermal. This thing is awesome. Here, I'll walk towards the side of the place here. Yeah, I could zoom in on the night vision. I think I'm the only one. Ooh, that was weird. I don't know if that was me, but I think I saw... You know what's weird? Look at the front, the top window to the right. That one's the only one that it looks like there's something behind it. Right above the small garage door, the right window. What is that about? I'm gonna take a picture of that. now I'm hearing noises. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna switch to the night vision to see what's up with that window, because that is odd. That is wild.
And then, a few minutes later into the video,
Just watching there. Look at that. I am literally getting a heat signature right in front of that window. Like someone's standing there. Now it's more than ever. I've never seen it so clear before. Look at that. There is a legit... What is up with that? No, I know, Tom, but I won't. I have nothing to hide. I'm not doing anything wrong. Look at that. Look at the window. Look at the window. Yeah, you're right. I'm waiting for it to clear there. Bam. Oh my God, that is insane. And apparently these two rooms, what I just read online, was the two little girls' rooms. What looks to be something peering out from the second floor window. I'm looking through all the other rooms. Let's look down. See if I could lower the intensity here. There we go. And there is something standing onto the second floor room here. Oh, it just moved. Look, it looks like a head and something holding its hand on the window. What the hell is that? Again, I'm only doing this so that way you guys could have... Oh, it just moved. A clear, high quality video so you can see better than on a live stream. I did leave a teddy bear here only because I was kind of up to date with what was going on, and this is such a sad story. But on the live stream, someone asked me about you. Look, I just got movement again. Someone asked me if I could use a thermal imaging camera, and so I did. Now, I'm going to switch. I'm going to go ahead and switch the imaging into a different image to see what it looks like on a thermal imaging instead of this color. Give me 1 second. Alright, so now I switched it to fully infrared, and what was weird about this one is that I wanted to see if I could still see it, but on the front door it looks like somebody was staring at me. Let's look at the top floor there. As you can see, that looks like the warmest window, and there it is. Looks, I'm going to keep as still as I can. What the hell is that? What is that? Does that look like someone with their head in their hand holding against the window? Look, and now it's changing. There it goes. Oh, it moved. What the hell am I seeing? Again, this is coming straight from an infrared perspective. Look, it looks like somebody else just came in on the far left. Oh, my arm is getting tired. Oh, whoa. Look. That is so creepy. It looks... I'm not even going to tell you what it looks like. You guys... I'll leave that up to you guys. But oh my god.
So what you are seeing there, where you're seeing the impressions from the thermal imaging, is in Bella's room. That is the window to Bella's bedroom.
So what happened next? Bella came in the room. Is that what happened? Bella came in. What she said? Oh, why? Did she hear something? Is that what she came? Obviously, I think. Okay. What did you tell her? Mommy don't feel good. Did that happen with Bella right in that room? Not proper. What happened? She walked in as, she thought, she was sleeping. Mm-hmm. Did you take her back to her room? But she had in that sheet. It's like, okay. Then what? Carried her downstairs. Back my truck up. At that point, were the girls still there? Okay. So then Shanann's in the truck. Then went back to the house. We got everybody back in the truck. Was Bella first or was Cece first? And the truck? Yeah, I'm sorry. So Shanann was first. And then Bella was next. Was Bella alive when you guys got in the truck? Oh, okay. What happened? I woke back up. Okay. It's I don't really want to talk about this part, honestly. Okay. Those are my kids. It's just my baby. I'm just talking about every night. I help stay up. Okay. Every time I see pictures, I don't know how it's used.
So if you know the story about the Watts tragedy, you know the terrible fate that Bella suffered, that she saw what was going on when Chris took the life of her mother, and then she took that horrible ride to Survey 319 and was speaking to him, and he talks about her last moments when Bella says, "Daddy, no." So if there is, a spirit in that house, could it have something to do with Bella? I personally believe, and I like to believe, and I do believe, that Bella is in a better place, that her spirit is with her maker, and she is forever free and filled with love and joy. But is there something to the idea that there is some energy that is beyond our comprehension in the Watts house? And could it possibly be connected to Bella, as Franco's video is certainly implying, based on his findings from his paranormal investigation? And then there's this. For those of you who've been following the case, do you remember September Lady? And for those of you who haven't, I'm going to read a passage from the Watts case discovery about a very curious event that happened in September of 2018, about a month after the murders. It says, on September 21st, 2018, at about 18:05 hours, I, Sergeant Manley, was advised by the Weld County Dispatch of a suspicious incident at 2825 Saratoga Trail with town limits in Frederick, Colorado. I was advised that the reporting party, Sandy, stated that she got a text from an unknown number, and the text stated that the back door to 2825 Saratoga Trail was open. Sandy said that there should not be anyone in or near the house at this time. I arrived at the house with officer lines. We walked up to the front door of the house and tried to open the front door. The door was secure. I looked through the windows of both sides of the door and did not see anything out of place or any sign that somebody had been made entry into the house. Officer Lines and I walked around to the front of the house to access the gate in the backyard. I tried to pick up on both garage doors to ensure they were still secure. As we walked around the house, I was looking at all windows and screens. I did not see anything out of place or that would indicate that someone gained access to the house from the windows. We walked around to the back of the house. I noticed that on the back door, the screen door was slid open. I walked up the steps and observed that the door was closed and there was a security bar in place preventing anyone from entering through that door. The curtains were in place and did not seem disturbed. After looking to see that all the windows and doors appeared secure in the back of the house, we walked back up to the front. As I was walking by the garage, I noticed that the garage lights were on. I did not recall that the lights were on when I walked up the first time. The house appeared secure at this time, and I did not see any indication that someone had been in or around the house. Officer Lines and I cleared without incident. At 19:51 hours, I was contacted by dispatch again. I was told that Frank Rusick called in stating he spoke to the neighbor Nate. According to Frank, Nate said the garage lights were still on and they had not been on the days in the past. I responded back to the address and spoke with Nate. He was able to show me video from his Xfinity home security system on his phone. He showed me that a female walked up to the house at about 900 hours and was seen walking up to the front door. There is no video of this female leaving the area, and shortly after, there's a black SUV that is seen passing the house slowly. Nate was able to show me 3 different videos showing the black SUV going slow by the house shortly after the female was seen walking to the front door. I did not see anyone leaving the vehicle and approach the house and did not see anyone come from the house and get into the vehicle. I was able to use a ladder that Nate provided me to look in the top windows of the garage, and he says that he didn't see anything that was unusual inside of the garage. Nate explained that he had spoken with the other neighbors in the area, and they had also not seen any lights on in the garage over the last few days. While I was looking in the windows, I pushed on the garage, sounding an alarm. I spoke to Frank by the phone, and he told me he did not think the light should have been on either. He told me about the alarm, and he stated that he did not think the alarm was set when he left the residence a few weeks prior. He asked if we would clear the house and make sure no one was in the house. They provided me with a door code for the front door. I explained that I would get a few more officers at the house, and we would make sure there was no one there. So this officer is saying that he got to the house, he checked it out, walked around to the back. When he came back around to the front, curiously, the garage lights were on, but they weren't, from what he remembered, when he first approached the house. And then, later that night, he was called back to the house, and once again, mysteriously, the garage lights were on, and they had not been in the past few days, according to everybody. And then there is this issue of this woman seen walking into the Watts house on that same day, but never seen leaving. What could explain all of this? What you see in the body cam footage that we are watching now is when the officers returned later that evening after Frank Rusick contacted them and said that the garage lights were still on and that he had confirmed with the neighbors that they hadn't been in days, and he asked officers if they could clear the house. And as reported in the passage that I read in Discovery, that is exactly what they did. And they did so without incident, although there are some points during this body cam footage where the officers seemed to be very alarmed. So let me show you that footage.
Go ahead.
Frederick Police Department, anybody in the basement? Frederick Police Department, make yourself known!
Gotcha.
Frederick Police Department, anybody down here? Frederick Police Department, anybody down here?
What's that? That might be the alarm, I'm thinking. I'm not sure. It's right there. Shut up.
Now, in that footage we just watched together, some people claim that they can see images or flashes of light or things that don't belong there off to the right of the screen. So if you want to, go back and take a watch of it again, and please leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Do you see anything unusual in that footage when the officers are clearing the house? And so, in the beginning of this video, I told you that I myself have had a paranormal experience, what I consider to be a paranormal experience associated with deep diving into this case, and I am not the only one. So Christina Randall, who is a very well-known true crime YouTuber, had an experience of her own. Now I want to tell you that I did not know about Christina Randall's experience until I spoke about my own experience for the first time during a live stream, and a few people commented, "Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. You have to hear what Christina Randall had to say." And so I finally found the video, or someone sent me the link. I'm not sure how that happened. And when I listened to what her experience was, I was absolutely chilled to the bone. So I will be sharing both of those stories with you right now. So first, let's listen to what Christina Randall has to say about her experience connected to deep diving into the Watts case.
First, we will get into the weird things that's been going on in my house. Now, I've been wanting to tell you guys about this, but I kept wanting to wait until I wasn't home alone because it just creeps me out. But anytime that I'm not home alone, the house is like loud and I can't get into it. So I am going to bite the bullet and go for it today. First thing is, I want to tell you guys that in my life, I have had like maybe, spooky things happen, things that could be questionable, paranormal, whatever you want to call it. You guys know my spiritual beliefs. I do believe in God, Jesus, all of that good, beautiful, lovely stuff there. You guys also know, if you're not new here, that no matter what your beliefs are, I love you and I respect you, and that's it. But with my beliefs, I definitely believe in the spiritual realm. I definitely believe in evil forces and stuff like that. Now, what happened was, when I started diving into this Chris Watts case like deeper, more than just what you see on the news or whatever, I mean anything from like watching YouTube videos or whatever, when I am home alone, I would hear sounds in my house that I never heard. And I always got the chills watching videos or reading things about him, like constantly getting the chills. And that's not it, okay? We're gonna get into it too, but the thing about it is, Chris Watts claims that some force took over him. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, because I'm not Chris Watts, and to be honest, he tells so many doggone lies, you can't keep up with it. Nobody really knows what's real or what's not. He's told so many different stories. I mean, we don't really know, like, it's like he says something that seems like it could make sense and be true, and then he turns around and says something else that seems like it could make sense and be true, and then he says something else, and you've got so many stories, you're like, what is it? We have to make our own, I guess, decisions about it. But the last time when you guys watched my other Chris Watts videos and I told you that something weird was happening in my house, I'm going to tell you guys what happened. I was getting ready to put Jaden to bed, and this night, or this day, I was all in it. I filmed it, edited it, and the thing about you guys may not realize is, when you do YouTube, right, a lot of people think, YouTube, I can do that, which you can. I mean, anybody can do YouTube, but it's not just you film a video, pop it up, okay? You have to think about the concept or the topic, right? So we'll say Chris Watts. I have to think about Chris Watts, okay? Then I have to watch videos or read articles or read stuff, okay? And gather my information, write it down, make cliff notes if I want to write down things that I don't want to forget, because Lord knows I'm super forgetful. And then I have to film the video, right? So then that takes time. Then I have to sit in front of a computer listening to myself talk about this subject for 8 hours, whatever it takes that day, over and over and over again. So it's not, so you literally, on a day that I've done Chris Watts, I'm spending 8 whatever hours just thinking about it and hearing it and getting the chills and getting these weird vibes. Well, this particular day was really, really creepy, you guys. And I was putting Jaden to bed, and I went into the garage. And when I went into the garage, when I turned the light on, way over by the garage was this big black, shadowy, I don't want to say a dark force because I don't know if that's too much or whatever, but this big black shadowy thing, and it like moved under the boxes really quick. And the thing is, oh man, I got chills all down my legs thinking about it. I didn't see the shadowy force or whatever it was when the light was off. It was when I turned the light on, okay? Oh, you guys. I stood there for a minute and I just looked. I kind of stood up on my tippy toes to see if because I was looking for something that would have made it make sense. And so I turned the light off. I did not go into the garage, and I locked the door. So I'm like literally in my mind trying to rationalize what this could be, what I saw, whatever. Later on, I got Jaden in my bed because he sleeps with me, but sometimes he goes to sleep in his bed. If he has to go to bed at a certain time, he goes to sleep in his bed, and then I pick him up, carry him into the bed with me, because if it's just he and I here, I don't want him on one side of the house and me on the other, even though we've got tons of cameras, full alarm system, the whole nine. I still want him sleeping with me. So I moved him into the other side of the house, into my bed, and in the kitchen, I saw another or the same big black shadow thing, and it freaked me out, you guys. It did. And I started praying. I prayed. I was singing songs, trying to fill my house full of, the good aura and the spirits that I believe. The next day or I kept thinking about it. Like, what could that, like, this is so weird. Like, I've never personally seen something like this before. I've seen other creepy things, like I've told you guys, and I've seen other things, and I've heard sounds, and I've been in really creepy places, but nothing like this. And, I kept thinking about it, so I reached out to a lady that is, like, high in the church. I don't know if that would be the word. Like, she's a very spirit-filled woman, and I told her about it because I was like, this is weird. Like, this is, whatever. I was like, something about this case, I cannot tell if it's something trying to stop me from talking about it because I should be talking about it, or if I should not be talking about it and I'm inviting something into my own home. So we talked about it a lot, prayed about it, and been really trying to do whatever. Okay, so that's why I never bought the book, although I was planning on buying the book, because I did not want to bring anything else into my home. So yes, since then, I have not really done anything on the Chris Watts case. I was trying to watch videos a couple nights ago on YouTube of other people that had the book and maybe just hear their opinion and see what they had to say, because I looked it up on Amazon. The book is for sale on Amazon, and I was reading the reviews, and the reviews are horrible. So this particular night I figured, okay, I'll just watch some videos. So I was laying in the bed with Jaden. Jaden was asleep, and you guys, I tell you, as soon as I start watching these videos, the chills come back. I would hear little noises in my living room, and it could be anything. I'll be honest with you guys. It could be the fish tank doing something funny. It could be, a tree limb falling or tapping a window or whatever. It could be something that makes logical sense, but it's so weird that every time I dive into this case, weird things start happening in my home. So,
oh my gosh, guys, that is super eerie, isn't it? And I totally believe Christina Randall about this. She has covered a number of true crime cases, and I watch her channel pretty regularly. I have for a number of years. And as far as I know, that is the only time she's ever talked about having strange experiences, possibly paranormal experiences, connected with a case she's covering. And she covers all of them, the most horrible, the most gruesome, the most terrible cases that you can imagine, all of them. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about my experience associated with the Watts case. A day that I was covering the Watts case, deep diving into the Watts case very intensely, and leading up to this day, some strange things have been happening. Now, I want to fast forward in time a little bit and tell you about the first time I actually did talk about this experience on my channel. I was doing a live stream that night. I was considering talking about this experience with the viewers of my live stream, and I was really unsettled about it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. I was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth as I was, just going about doing things around my house that I had to do before I was going to begin the live stream. I was in my garage. I was just cleaning some things out, just moving stuff around, and I came across this book. I picked up the book, and guys, what was it? It was the Biblical Manual for Spiritual Warfare. A friend of mine, it's actually my son's godson, and he works in the Catholic Church. He had my son baptized and whatnot. He gave this to me one time when I was living in a house that had some weird energy in it, and he gifted this to me as a, to read these prayers. It's a manual for spiritual warfare. So on that day, as I was thinking about telling this story at my live stream this night, guys, I swear to you, I hadn't seen this book since he gave it to me. And he'd given it to me years ago and in a different location hours away from where I am right now. I had not seen this book to my recollection. So I'm considering talking about this experience during my live stream. And what do I come across just a couple hours before I was going to start that live stream? The Manual for Spiritual Warfare. Didn't even remember it was in my possession. Didn't even know that it was in my house, or rather in my garage. So as I'm telling you my story here, I'm just going to be playing, some of the very first Watts documentary that I created that is what I was working on at the time that this whole really scary experience happened. All right. Here we go. So this was a few years ago, I think about 3 years ago now, and I'd started my channel about a year prior to that. It's called Watts the Obsession. At that time, I really focused almost exclusively on talking about the Watts case, analyzing the Watts case, and just, doing content in various aspects of this case. At the time, I was also in a grad school program, and I was up late on this particular night. It was a Thursday night because I was studying for an exam that I needed to take the following day for part of my certification for the program that I was going to school for to, advance my professional career, right? So I had a very busy day. I was just at home all day. I was studying. I was working really hard on the channel. This was right around the time I was doing my first Chris Watts documentary video, and it was very labor intensive for me. I was working really hard on it. I wanted to get it just right. I was researching so intensely on various aspects of this case. I wanted to know all of the facts. I wanted to get them right. I wanted to be able to provide you guys data, facts, evidence, and put it all together so you could see for yourself what you thought about how this crime, came to be, right? So it's about 1 a.m. I'm admittedly pretty tired, and, for a couple hours up until 1 a.m., I was just feeling a little uneasy in my own home that evening. I kept feeling as though, there was something around me. That feeling you just get when you feel like someone is there, but they're not supposed to be, or you feel like there's eyes on you, like somebody's watching you, or there's just a heavy presence near you. But as you look around, you see nobody, and you think, okay, well, I'm alone. I've got to be going crazy right now. There's nobody here. So I had that feeling very intensely. It kind of kept coming and going in waves, but it was always there, just sort of under the surface of my consciousness. I was very aware that I had that uneasiness. And I kept seeing things out of the corner of my eye. I would just be looking at my computer, doing research, watching a video, or studying, reading a book. Whatever it was I was trying to focus on, my attention was continually drawn to the periphery because I thought that I was seeing things out of the corner of my eye. So I got up a few times, walked around my house, inspected things. I was like feeling this weird, eerie presence. I thought I was seeing things out of the corner of my eye. So I'm starting to get a little bugged out. This is like weird. I'm hearing things. And yes, of course, it could be anything. Like Christina Randall said in her account, it could be, a branch tapping on the outside of the house. She said it could be her fish tank. I don't have fish, but I have a lot of bunnies. Maybe it's a bunny making a noise. It can be a number of things. I live in an older house. It's very creaky. Sometimes there's noises. But it's all of these things that came together. This eerie, heavy feeling, the sounds, the catching, peripheral sights out of the corner of my eye when I was trying to focus on other things. So we're just a little bit after 1 a.m. in the morning. At this time, I'm sitting on my couch, which is right near the front door. It's kind of an open floor plan. I'm sitting on the same couch right now. I'm looking at the door. It's probably about, 15 feet away from me. And all of a sudden, I hear ding, 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 ding. Oh my God. What the dude, it's my front doorbell. Okay, it's 1 a.m. on a Thursday evening. All right, when my son was younger in certain neighborhoods we lived in, some of the neighborhood kids would do that. What's it called? Like ding dong ditch, where they would come in and ring your doorbell and then they would run away, and maybe it would be dark outside, but it certainly wasn't 1 a.m. Now, where I live now, it's a very quiet residential neighborhood. It's kind of almost going out to the country. It's very quiet, but I have neighbors to either side of me, that are like, I don't know, 50 yards away or something like that. But nobody is coming to my house at 1 a.m. in the morning, especially unannounced. I might have visitors come by in the evening, and this is very rarely unless we are expecting them. So this is super freaking weird. So it's after 1 a.m. I'm having all these creepy feelings all night and here, ding, 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 ding. And it was just extended ringing of the doorbell. Like somebody was holding in the doorbell. It's kind of an older antique style doorbell and just letting that baby ring, 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 ring. So I am so freaking scared right now. But what the heck is going on? I have to see, and nobody else is going to check this out. So I've got to get myself together. So I got my nerve together and I got up and I started walking towards that door again. That's about 15 feet away from where I was sitting at the time I heard the doorbell go off and go crazy. And I start walking towards the door and I'm listening carefully, and it's complete silence. And I say, "Who is it? Is there somebody there?" Oh my God, I was so scared to even say that. And nobody answers. So I continue to walk closer to the door. So my, forehead is basically on the door. I'm just trying really carefully to listen to see if I can hear any movement whatsoever. Is somebody just being like, playing a joke that's really freaking me out, or what's going on here? Do I need to be alarmed? So I listen for, I don't know, maybe it was 30 seconds, maybe it was a minute. I'm not really sure. I say, okay, to myself, okay, I don't hear anything. There's, nobody on the other side of that door. So I start to turn to go back, to the couch where I was sitting before. And just as my back is about turned to that door, as I'm going to walk away, ding, 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 ding. And this time, that doorbell was going off for probably twice the length of time that it did the first time. And oh my God, guys, I was paralyzed in that moment in fear. I was right next to the door. I just turned around. As soon as my back was to that door, that doorbell just went absolutely crazy, and it was so loud. It was echoing in my ears, and I did not know what I was going to do. I literally remember this total feeling of being paralyzed, just not even being able to take a breath. So the doorbell stops ringing. I'm like, holy shit, oh my God, I am terrified. I'm shaking. My breath is really heavy. My heart is pounding. So I go and I get my phone and I call 911. I'm terrified. Somebody needs to come here and help me and see what is going on. Somebody is obviously, doing something. They're at my house. Are they going to try to come in? I was so terrified. So I remember being on the phone with the police dispatcher, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to send someone to your house as soon as we can. And I was like, please don't hang up. And I can just remember barely even being able to get the words out because I was so scared. I was trembling like in every way. And I remember thinking, they probably think I'm crazy, but they cannot leave me right now. I am so scared. So finally they tell me that there's a couple officers. They're going to be approaching the door. So, I look out, I see them, and then I open the door for them to come in, and I tell them the story, and they go check the periphery of the house. They walk around. They've got their flashlights out. Now there's a third officer. They're walking around again. They've got their flashlights out, and they come back and tell me, sorry, ma'am, we don't see anything. Can you tell us again what happened? So I again reiterated the story. So, at this time, I did not have a Ring bell camera, by the way. I got one the very day after this happened. And it's going to come into play a little bit later. And so, I asked them, I said, guys, listen, I am just so freaking scared. There's like 2 rooms in the back of my house. One is like a 4-season room, and the other one is like a second living room. And in each of those rooms, it's just 3 walls of these huge, massive windows. And I was too scared to even look out those windows. And then in the back of my house, I have about, it goes back about maybe 200 yards. And then my property ends on a very wooded area and a creek. So as you look into my backyard, it's just total darkness. Nothing is there. Hopefully nobody is there. So I asked them to please come in and check to make sure all the windows were locked and, you know, all of that. And they very hesitantly came in because I think they don't like to come into a property unless they really have to, but they could tell that I was absolutely bugged out and I wasn't going to let them go until they helped me check to see that these windows were locked, right? So they comply with my request and they check all of the windows and they assure me that everything in my home is secure as far as they can tell, that they were not able to see anyone around my house. If there was someone here, they're not here anymore. It's okay. We don't see any signs of anybody doing anything to try to gain entry to your house or anything like that. So, you know, if anything weird happens, you can give us a call, but, just try to relax, and they were on their way. So I am totally hyped up now. It's by the time they left, it's almost 2 a.m. I've got this test to take tomorrow. I am just totally freaked out. I've been feeling weird all night with this eerie, heavy feeling, seeing things out of my peripheral vision, hearing things that just didn't feel like they were normal things. But finally, God, I'm just so freaking exhausted. It's almost 3:30 and I'm laying on my couch and I've got a couple low lights on and I finally start to doze off just a little bit because I really have to get up and take that exam tomorrow morning. I know I've just got to get to sleep. So just as I feel like I am about to drift off into heavenly sleep, guess what, guys? Ding 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 ding. And this time, and maybe it's just the way it felt, but I really believe that the length of the time that doorbell was being rung was 3 times the length of the first time somebody rang my doorbell. So it was or somebody or something. So each time that doorbell was rung, it was just more intense, it lasted longer. And I just jumped straight up. I thought I was going to pass out. I was horrified. I called the police back. They showed up very quickly. They came in, they came in like gangbusters, their flashlights out, ready for somebody to be there. It's total darkness around my house. At night was so dark. They're looking in the backyard around the house and they don't see anybody. So one of the officers at this point across the street from me, it's like a retirement home sort of situation. Now he was gone for a while and he came back and he reported to me that he was able to look at their cameras because they have a ton. It's a very large, nice property, and I'm sure they do have a ton of cameras. He told me he was able to see their cameras, and they could see a very clear view of the front of my house. Again, I have neighbors, tens of yards away from me on either side, and then you can see right down, the side of my house to that really deep, dark backyard that terminates at the creek. And he told me that the whole night, when I'm reporting, the first ring of the doorbell, the second ring of the doorbell, the third ring of the doorbell, that nobody was at the front of my house. I need not worry. Nobody was ever there. It was clear the whole time. Nobody has been on your property. Nobody's been at your house. It's been very quiet. Hardly a car has driven by. And I'm like, what the... Now, when I told this story before, some people piped up and said, I think it would be really strange if this cop was able to actually see the security camera footage from that, old folks home across the street from you, even if they do have a lot of cameras. And I really don't know about that, but that is what he told me. And, my thought is, if he was just trying to tell me that to ease my mind and calm me down, I don't know. I mean, would a cop do that if he didn't really see that there was nobody at my house on my property coming up to my door? Because, he doesn't know. And if there was and something bad happened, that's not good for him. So all I can tell you is what he told me. And he told me that it was all clear. Nobody had been on my property or up to my front door the entire night. Needless to say, that night, I did not sleep. I did not take my exam the next day. I had to reschedule it. There was no way. I was supposed to be waking up at 6:30 or 7, traveling about an hour and a half to the testing location, taking this test that I was studying for so long. It was a really big deal. There was a lot, riding on this. So I just simply couldn't do it. What I did instead the next day was I got a ring doorbell camera and some other things to have more security around my house. For the first time in my life, I put a crucifix up in my living room. I was raised Catholic, but I don't follow the Catholic tradition. I haven't, in my teen adult life, and I don't now, but I really felt compelled to do that at this point, because that night I just felt so strongly in so many ways that there was an energy in my home, with me, around me, that was malicious, that was out to taunt me or to get me. And I have never felt so sure of anything in my life as I did of that. And let me just tell you, I'm not a big believer in the paranormal. I do believe in good and evil. I do believe, that there are some paranormal things that happen, but I'm not one to interpret every little strange sound or sight that you hear as being a paranormal event. I just don't buy it. I usually think it's actually kind of hokey. So I'm questioning myself, the fact that I really believe that something paranormal happened that night. It was really making me feel like I was going crazy.
Intense light. So it could mean several things because the body chemistry changes.
Sure.
On all that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. A lot of these are motion activated. These are the shoes that she took the scent off of.
Okay. That's you. Well, there's plenty of first anger here.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What in the world is that?
Wow.
Go in there and step on that little blue thing and see if that's where that noise came.
Yeah, it sounded like a kid toy.
It might. It sort of sounds like it.
Something. I heard it.
That one, did you hear it?
I did.
It sounded like a kid giggling or something, didn't it? Or a kid.
It did.
Where did that come from? Because all he did was go straight in there. That was straight. Well, we'll make a note of that.
I heard it. I definitely heard the same thing you did.
Yeah, and then he just sort of turned around and looked. But I didn't expect that. The register. Was she on any, oh no, she was pregnant. I was going to say, do you know about drug use in the house or pot?
Not that we know of. So there's your attic access right there. Here's a pair of her. Here's a pair of her.